بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ويل لكل همزة لمزة الذي جمع مالا وعدده يحسب أن ماله أخلده كلا لينبذن في الحطمة وما أدراك ما الحطمة نار الله الموقدة التي تطلع على الأفئدة إنها عليهم مؤصدة في عمد ممددة.
وأصلي وأسلم على المبعوث رحمة للعالمين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد, inshallah, today we are beginning the study of Surah Al Humazah. Surah Al Humazah, of course, we all know it is a Makki surah, a Surah Al Makkiyah. And what happens is that this is forming the climax, is the apex of the. If you look at Juz Amma, as we said the last time, or as we have been studying Juz Amma, you will observe that Juz Amma is made up of surahs that come for wa'id, surahs that come for warning. They are mainly surahs of warning. They talk about the judgment day. Most of them, not all of them, but a chunk of Juz Amma. The surahs of Juz Amma, they are talking about the occurrences that will happen during judgment day. Most of those surahs. So if you take from Juz Amma all the way coming down to Surah Al Humazah, Surah Al Humazah is where you find the apex of that. Then after Surah Al Humazah, what we are now going to be, what the surahs that will come after, and we are going to be studying them, they are now going to shift a little bit. They will now be talking about, all of them will have something to do with the life of the Prophet. So there will be iltifat, there will be change of subject matter, even still revolving around the same idea, but there will be a little bit of change in how we study them, and so or in how they or in the in what they entails. So Surah, as I said, from Amma, so from Surah Al Amma all the way to Surah Al Humazah, these are the main surahs that talk about Judgment Day and what will happen during the time. And as I said, Surah Al Humazah, this is the apex, like you are getting to the climax. So this surah is very harsh. And tied to this surah, there are two other surahs that came before the Surah Al Asr and the Surah Al Takasu. And if you look at them, they are very closely related. They are very closely related. Okay, in Surah Al Asr, we saw how human beings are in delusion, or we saw how human beings are in lost. They are doomed. Every single human being is doomed, and time is passing without them realizing. And if you look at Surah Al Takasu, Allah talk about, despite this time passing, the human being is continuously in distraction until he visits the graves. One of the day he will land in his grave. So this distraction, despite the emergency, the state of emergency that the human being is in, okay, and time is running out. So to take us tell us that the human being is distracted, as if nothing is waiting for him. And so this surah and Surah Al Humazah, now we are coming to study, it will mainly go into the attitude of such a human being, you know. So this is a very nice surah. We are coming to study Surah Al Humazah. Let's just begin without wasting much time, inshallah. Allah begin by saying that wailul likulli humazatin lumazah. Way to every slanderer, defamer. Wail, of course, we all know, is a kalima that comes a lot in the Quran. It comes a lot in the Quran, and mainly when it comes as a warning, you know. It comes so there's a particular sifa, there's a particular description that is given, and Allah warns that if these people who possesses this description, a very painful punishment awaits them. So in such cases, Allah will use wail to warn. So if you look at it like Sheikh Usaymin, he says that here kalimatu wa'id ay innaha tadullu ala subuti wa'idin liman ittasafa bihazihi sifat. He says that this kalima comes to give a warning. For whoever fits in this description, So what Allah is coming to describe, whoever fits in this description, he should be aware that a very painful punishment awaits him. Even some of the Mufassirun, they say that Ismul Liwadin fi Jahannam is a name of a valley in Jahannam, where the fire itself is afraid of. If that well is open, the doors of this is opened, the hellfire itself, it seeks protection against it. So very horror description that is given to this kalima, wail. So Allah says, wailun likulli humazatin lumazah. Wail, bimana a very worst form of destruction, possible form of destruction for every slanderer, defamer. What in the world does humazah and lumazah mean? Let's dive into it. Humazah is actually, let's look at it linguistically. Okay, linguistically, lugatan, in the context of Arabic language, what does it mean? Before Islam, how does the Arabs use humazah? Humazah, it was used as, when someone uses a sharp object to poke someone, that's what we term as humazah. Hamazah, to use a sharp object to poke, to pinch someone. The person will feel the pain, so that's hamazah. The pinching, using a sharp object to pinch someone, is termed as humazah. Then lumazah also, linguistically or in the context of Arabic language, it means lamaza. The verb is lamaza. It means to check on someone to find faults. To check on someone to find a fault in the person. So you are constantly observing someone to find a flaw in him. We term it as lamaza. So hamaza is to poke at someone with a sharp object. That's in the context of Arabic. And lumaza is from lamaza, which means to check on someone to find a flaw or a fault. I don't know whether we get the difference. Okay. So these two things, these two words, that's what Allah is using here. Now let's look at it when it is used in istilahan bimana in Islam. How is it used bimana after the Quran was revealed, and then it now became a technical terminology that is used in the Quran. How did people understood it? So let's look at it. If you look at it without, let me add something here. If you look at humazah and lumazah, you see that they are ending the star marbuta. The star marbuta. And this star is to give a signal. In Arabic, is one of the patterns of mubalaga. Fu'ala. Like we have fu'ala. Okay. Kafara. Ulaika humul kafaratul fajara. And is, as I said, it's a pattern of mubalaga. Mubalaga means exaggeration. Okay, hyperbole. To hyperbolize something. So, example, qiyam means standing. Qiyamah. It means what? Standing for very long. Very long standing. So, fu'ala. The pattern of fu'ala is, in Arabic language, it comes from mubalaga. Kafara. Ulaika humul kafaratul fajara. Now here, humazah. Lumazah, it means these people, they don't just do what they are doing casually, or they don't just do it once and that's all. Meaning they does it repeatedly. That's what Allah is pointing out here. By this tamar buta, the presence of this tamar buta at the end is to signify that these are people who does these acts repeatedly. Now let's look at it in the context of in the Quran, bimana istilah, and how is it used as a technical terminology in the Quran? How is it understood? With that one, let's look at the tafsir of most of the prominent mufassirun. We have here ahaduhuma. We are going to look at about 4 different opinions here of what these terms mean in the context of the Quran. So ahaduhuma, the first one, qala Ibn Abbas. Ibn Abbas says that al humazah al muqtab. Humazah, the first one, humazah is actually al-muqtab, someone who does ghiba, to slander people, to backbite, talk about people's flaws when they are not present, in their absence. Wal lumazah al-ayyab, and lumazah is someone who finds flaws in people. Almost similar thing that we have seen in there. As-saniha, the second one, qala Abu Zayd. Abu Zayd says that al-humazah bil-yad wal-lumazah bil-lisan. Humazah is using your hand to describe. Sometimes, you can use your hand to make mockery of someone. That is what this is telling us. Wal-lumazah bil-lisan, and lumazah is doing it with your tongue, speaking it out, saying it out. والسادس, and then the third one, قال أبو العالية الهمزة بالمواجهة. Humazah is actually to say it, to find flaws in people, to talk about bad things about people in front of them, directly in their face. واللمزة بظهر الغيب, and lumazah is to do it at their back. والرابعها, and then the fourth one, the fourth opinion, الهمزة جهرا. Humazah is actually to talk about people's flaws openly. واللمزة سرا, and lumazah is to talk about it in secrecy, the manner the person is absent. A very natural opinion also, which is narrated, I think it's related to Ibn Abbas. He says that, in particular, so someone asked Ibn Abbas, من هؤلاء الذين يزمهم الله بالويل, فقال هم المشاؤون بالنميمة. They are those who go around gossip. المفرقون بين الأحبة, by means of that they separate between loved ones. النائتون للناس بالعيب, and then they describe people with flaws. So this is a very beautiful description that Ibn Abbas says. But what we all know is the famous saying that he says that جل تفاسير السلف تفسير بالمثال لا بالتفسير التعيين. Okay, if you look at the Salaf, the predecessors, the Sahabas, the Tabi'un, and then the Tabi'un, these three, the first three generations, if you look at their tafasir, like Ibn Abbas here, they see that most of the scholars, they see that their tafasir is merely examples, like they give example of what that is, but not in general terms. Their tafasir is like that. So like Ibn Abbas is seeing here, al-masha'una bin namima, they go around with gossip. Al-mufarriquna bayna al-ahibba, they separate between people. An-na'ituna lin-nasi bil-ayb, then they describe people with flaws. Bimana, if you want to see who an example of a humazah, someone who is a humazah, is this kind of person. Hope that is clear. But that doesn't mean that is all what humazah means. Humazah is actually a very broad terminology. It's a very broad terminology. Okay. One other thing that we need to know is that if you look at them, these two words, they are qaribul ma'na. Their meanings are very similar. Even to a point, some of the scholars, they see that these two words, they are interchangeable. They are interchangeable. They are the same. The basic concept is finding flaws in people. That's what it is talking about. So that's what I like talking about. People who find flaws with other people. People who talk about bad things of other people. And the subtle difference is what we have to look at. Humazah is doing it behind the back of people. And lumazah is doing it or finding flaws with people, criticizing people, calling out their flaws in front of them. That's the common opinion. The Sheikh says that وَعْلَمَ أَنَّ جَمِيعَ هَذِهِ الْهُجُومُ مُتَقَارِبَةٌ رَاجِعَةٌ إِلَى أَصْلٍ وَاحِدٍ. He says that we should know that all these opinions that have been listed, they all return back to one asl, one origin. وَهُوَ الطَّعَنُ, and that is slandering people. وَإِظْهَارُ الْعَيْبِ, describing or calling out the flaws of people. ثم هذا على قسمين, and then he says that this is in two categories. فإنه إما أن يكون بالجد, it can be out of seriousness. You can be talking about someone's flaws out of seriousness, like you are just criticizing the person out of seriousness. كما يكون عند الحسد والحقد, as we have seen in hasad, بمعنى jealousy. If someone is jealous of another person and that he is whether lying on him or calling out his flaws, he's doing it out of seriousness. He's really serious about that. And then he says that وَإِمَّا أَنْ يَكُونَ بِالْهَزْلِ, and then it could be out of joke. كَمَا يَكُونُ إِنَّ السُّخْرِيَّةِ وَالْإِدْحَاقِ, as we have seen in mockery. Like you are mocking someone. It's not, you are not really serious. You are just doing it for fun. Like someone passed by and then you say, look at how this man is walking out of fun, just to ask for laughter. And then you are just doing it out of play. So that's what Sheikh is seeing here. It could be out of seriousness. Man, the person really meant what he's saying. It's really, he have some grudges towards the person and then he's calling out his flaws. And then Sheikh also says that it could be out of play. And this is very common. And we have to be very careful. That's why Allah began by even saying likulli, for everyone. Man, there's no exception. We may all fall in this. So we have to watch out. We have to be extra cautious in this regard of talking about other people. Sheikh is telling us here, it could be out of joke, and this is what you see in the youth. You know, they casually do it. We may think that it is something that is very small, something that is meaningless, but in the sight of Allah, it is a great thing. You are three, a friend just left, and then you start talking about him. This is counted in Humazah and Maw-izah. If you're going to count examples of what will fall in this, we will keep on counting them. The hadith of the Prophet is sitting with his wife, Aisha radiallahu anha. She is describing one of the other wives of the Prophet, her co-wives. And so she described her by using her hand. Okay, she used the hand to point and say, look, that small one, like using her hand to describe. Sometimes when you are using your hand to describe the tallness or shortness of a person. So that was similar thing that he did. And the Prophet told her that what you have done, just that description, that sifa you have created, that description you have made of her by using your hand to do it. This is, we may think that it is something that is just casual. Sometimes we all do this. And so the Prophet warned her that what you have done, if it was to be mixed with the ocean, it would have changed the color of the ocean. This is something that you have done, and then you think it's just something casual. But wallahi, in the sight of Allah, it's not a small thing. Someone can just pass by, that you will make a small mockery of him. Wallahi, on the day of judgment, what we will have to pay in compensation to that is no joke. What we have learned from this first ayah is that these are people who call out the flaws of other people. And why would someone call out the flaws of other people or talk bad about other people? Meaning the person already believes that he has no fault. He thinks he doesn't have anything to worry about. And so he's calling out the flaws of others. Meaning he doesn't think he has any flaw. This kind of people, they are people who doesn't judge themselves and look at what they have done in preparation for the hereafter. So the implication here is that such kind of person, he doesn't really bother much about the akhirah. He's someone who thinks all about life is money. And if he should get money, he is free of need, So that's why Sheikh Sadi, he says that وَمِن صِفَةِ هَذَا الْحَمَّازِ اللَّمَّازِ أَنَّهُ لَا حَمَّ لَهُ سِوَى جَمَعِ الْمَالِ. This person, out of his character, he doesn't have anything, he doesn't see anything to be important to him other than gathering money. Subhanallah. وَتَعْدِيدِهِ, and counting it. وَالْغِبْطَةُ بِهِ وَلَيْسَ لَهُ رَغْبَةٌ فِي الْإِنْفَاقِهِ فِي طُرُقِ الْخَيْرَاتِ. This such kind of person, these are people who think that money is everything that he needs. It's the highest objective that they have in life, is to gather money. And when they are done gathering this money, they now belittle everyone who's below them. They see every other person to be below them. They doesn't, give any respect to other people. They call them out, call out their flaw. All the thing is, to make mockery of other people. Especially the people of religion. They are easily object to this kind of people. They mock them. Look at these people, they are Muslims. One time one mushrikeen was saying this, look at these Muslims. One atheist was saying this, look at these Muslims. They pray 5 times a day. They don't eat alcohol. They don't eat this. They don't all this for what? Making mockery of Islam. And in today's terminology, there are a lot. You see such kind of people, especially online. On this platform, you have websites, evangelical websites, and then atheist platforms, and all these things. And such kind of people are there. They just make mockery of Islam. Look at what Islam is talking about, Jannah, all these things, this promises to these people. And so they are doing all these things. Why? So they think that money is the source, is the main goal of this life. And so after they have gotten their money, people become object of mockery for them. So it's very, very scary. And then so Allah described this. The second sifat that Allah gives of these people is Allazi jama'a malan wa addada. The one who gathers money and he counts and continue to count it. Allazi jama'a malan wa addada. As I've already said, such kind of people, they gather money and then they continuously count it. These are people who says that money is the solution to all problems. You have heard this kind of sayings before. We have been hearing this. So these are this kind of people. You think if I have any problem, I will throw the money at the problem and then the problem will be gone. That's it. And then they gather money. The main their main goal every single day is to gather as much money as possible. Well, at dada, and then they continue to count it. They count and then they count and then they count and then they count. They continuously count, And sometimes these problems become problems of Muslims. We Muslims. It's not just talking about people who are atheists and the people who doesn't believe in Islam now Muslims. No, sometimes we see it, we have it as a problem as Muslims. Our main goal tends from Jannah. Our main goal tends from Jannah to money, towards money. In the society, it's like if you don't have money, you are the most wretched of all people. You are easy target to people, insult of people. And so money has now just become the threshold, or it has become the criteria for judging people, for judging how successful people are. Subhanallah. That's how the society has become today. If someone is rich, oh, mashallah, everybody respect this person. Mashallah, this person is so. Everybody respect and all that. Allazi jama malahu wa addada. And we Muslims, as I said, sometimes we have these things in us. We have these things in us. And we casually saying that Jannah is our goal is just something everybody can say. But is it really in us? Is it really showing in our acts? Is it really in us? Sometimes we work all day. We work all day without any concentration, without concentrating on our hereafter. It's very pathetic. Except someone who Allah has have mercy on, has loved, and then he just barely make time to think about his religion and then his akhirah. At least I've gathered enough. Let me concentrate a little bit on my akhirah. These are people who Allah has loved. But the majority, most of the times, what we find in our communities, you see even Muslims, as I said, a chunk of Muslims, they are really oblivious of the hereafter. Everybody's running after the world, gathering money, as if we were created for that. The main aim is just now to come to the world, gather as much money, then you enter and die and enter your grave. As if that's what the human being has been created for. And the most worst form of it is people who think, people who don't even understand, people who don't even feel guilty of this. There's nothing more important to them than gathering money. And then even people who are concentrating on their religion, they now tend to mock them and say, look at these people, they have no future. They have no future. It's sometimes very funny. You tell this person you don't have a future. What's your future? My friend, think about your future. You are too concerned about your religion. Think about your future. You see people talking saying this. Meanwhile, they are not thinking about their future. They think, let's say, in the next 10 to 20 years, what will be your future? Who told you it is guaranteed? Subhanallah. Death is just hovering around us. It's just something that is bound to happen. It can take you at any time. And so they think that that's my future. So you should rather think in 100 years' time or 200 years' time, when none of us will be living on. In 200 years' time, it is guaranteed that none of us here will be alive. So what will be your future at that time? What have you prepared for that? We will all be in the graves. So what have you prepared for that? For that time? That's the real future. The akhirah is the real future. So these people, they are having shallow mind, and they are thinking, people are not thinking about their future. And their future they are leading to is just in the next, few years to come. And they think they have accumulated much money to cater for their future needs. And so they think these people that have gotten everything. And these people, they are not thinking about their future. Not knowing that actual future is the one waiting for you. In a couple of 100 years' time. And even in your grave, and then in the hereafter. Subhanallah. So, it's like they are in a state of loss. It's very pathetic. Surah Al Asr and then Surah Al Humazah, we have seen this into details. And so, sometimes, as I said, sometimes may Allah open our eyes and let us see reality for what it is. Like we have always been praying. Allahumma arina al-haqqa haqqan warzuqna ittiba'ah. a very close friend of mine. He's a medical doctor, actually. He's a medical doctor. And I've always been amazed by him. Most of the time he come together, we study the Quran. And then he just tells me most of the time, like, he could make too much money. But sometimes he just give out the time and say, no, at least I've gotten enough money. It can cater for my family and my basic needs. So at least the remaining time, let me use it and go and do for my akhirah. So he'll come and then we study Quran here together, And sometimes he doesn't look like a medical doctor. You see, sometimes a medical doctor, sometimes you are very busy, and all these people who are occupied these big positions, or these positions like medical doctor and engineer, they turn out to be very busy physician and all these things. But this person, mashallah, he just go and then that's when he gets, the money he needs. He could, of course, the remaining time he could use it and work extra and get extra bonuses and extra money. But he says, at least I've gotten what I need. That money I've gotten, it can cater for my needs and whatever I need. So at least the remaining time, let me use it to work on my akhirah, to learn Quran and then Arabic and then work on my akhirah. MashaAllah. So, may Allah open our eyes. May Allah open our eyes. So, allazi jama'a malan wa addada. Such kind of person, this person, jama'a malan wa addada. He gathers money and then he counts it repeatedly. And if you look at here, mal is singular. Allah says, Allah uses it as, Allah mentioned it in a singular context. The plural is amwal, monies. But Allah says, jama'a malan. He gathers money as if it's a singular. So, most of the Mufassirun, they see that this is for tahkir. This is for belittling. Allah belittles the fact that we are gathering money. As if Allah is saying, how much money are you even going to gather? If you are to devote your time, or if you are to give a little bit of your time to work on your akhirah, wallahi, that is best for you. But if you keep on gathering money, and you have no concern about your akhirah, Allah is saying that all the money that you gather, what is it? Allah is saying it is too little, such that it is like a single money, or a single dinar, a single money. Subhanallah. That's what Allah is saying. Allah is belittling it. It's too small. This is something that is, it's despicable. You think you are you have gotten everything, but Allah is doing takir of the person. Allah is belittling the fact that how much money are you even going to gather? And even if you gather it, how guaranteed is it that you will live in the next, in the next couple of years that you are projecting to find yourself in? How many people, how many people of abundant resources died and then they left their money, And then Allah says that wa addada. This addada, if you look at the verb, there is tashdid in it. Addada, the actual verb is adda, which means to count. Okay, adda actually means to count. Addada, it means he count and then he count and then he count repeatedly. So that's why Sheikh says that ahsahu waja at-tashdid likasratil madud. He says that this person, he is someone who gathers abundant money. The money is too much. He has gathered a lot of money, such that he doesn't just take single time, or he doesn't just take small time to count it. He takes a lot of time. He counts and counts and then counts and counts. These are people who foresee their future. You see, in my future, of course, this money have been allocated for my this and this one for my this one when I go to retirement, this one when I become old, this one is for my children. All this kind of, that's such kind of person. So he take time and then he budget and then he quantify it and budgets it for his life. Subhanallah. And so that's why Allah says, Yahsabu anna malahu akhlada. He thinks that his wealth will make him live forever. Yahsabu anna malahu akhlada. He thinks that his wealth will make him live forever. This is person, as I said, as if tomorrow is guaranteed for him. He thinks that, as I said, he thinks that the money is there, is what is keeping him alive. These are people who cannot live without money projecting his future. This is for my future, and this is this, and all that. He planned for, if I should go to retirement, this is my money that I will be left. I will live for retirement. If I should become at 60 years, this money should be there. Let me build an estate here so that at 80 years, I can rely on it. Let me do this here, do this here, all that. Yasabu anna malahu akhlada. He thinks that gathering that money, the money that he has gathered, it can make him live forever. He thinks that as much as the money is with him, he will be free of problems. He will be free of problems. Not thinking that, or not knowing that it isn't lack of money that kills people. As I said, there are people, of course, we all know examples of billionaires and millionaires who died and then left their monies. So this kind of person, he thinks that the money is what is keeping him alive. If there's a small depreciation in his money, he will go and do suicide assault or something. We have seen that cases of this kind of things. Their livelihood in this life is dependent on money. If there's no money, they cease to exist. And as far as there's money with them, they think that they will continue to live. They don't perceive any danger that is coming towards them. Like Allah says, إِنَّكَ كَادِهٌ إِلَىٰ رَبِّكَ كَدْحًا فَمُلَاقِيهِ. Subhanallah. قُلْ يَتَوَفَّاكُمْ مَلَكُ الْمَوْتِ الَّذِي وُكِّلَ بِكُمْ. Malakul Maut, the angel of death. Allah says, he has been set on all of us. He's just waiting for your time and then he will come and take it. He will get you. Allah says he will get you. قُلْ إِنَّ الْمَوْتَ الَّذِي تَفِرُّونَ مِنْهُ فَإِنَّهُ مُلَاقِيكُمْ. The death that you are running away from, you will definitely meet it. There's no escape from death. لَا بُدْ مِنَ الْمَوْتِ. There's no escape from death. There's no way you can escape death. So it's not money that will keep you alive. You can gather as much money as it is. And the next day you'll be entering your grave. May Allah make us see reality. So يَحْسَبُ أَنَّ مَالَهُ أَخْلَدَ. This person, he thinks that his money will keep him alive. His money will make him live forever. And Allah says أَخْلَدَ, which is in the past tense. Meaning that he thinks that I've already taken care of my future expenses, so there's nothing to worry about. This person, he has done it, like he has secured his future. So he has done it, and then he thinks that there's nothing to worry about in the future. Okay, all these resources that I've accumulated, and these budgets I've done, and then these insurance schemes I have went through and I've signed with them, all these things, there's nothing to worry about. Don't worry, my future is already taken care of. I have nothing to worry about. All that I have to worry about is to point out the flaws of people. It's now to sit down as if there's nothing to worry about, and then to talk about other people's flaws. Because for me, I have nothing to worry about. I have enough money to cater for what is ahead of me. And so that's what Sheikh says here, that لم يكن يخلده لأن المراد يحسب هذا الإنسان أن المال ضمن له الخلود وأعطاه الأمان من الموت وكأنه حكم قد فرغ منه. Subhanallah, he thinks that he is free of death. There's no way he has enough money. Why will he die? He has money. If any problem comes in his way, he will throw the money at the problem, and the problem is gone. He's free of any problem to worry about. Then he says that the second thing we are learning here is that أحب المال بمعنى هذا الإنسان أحب المال حبا شديدا. This person, he loves money such that Allah says يحسب أن ماله أخلده. He thinks that his money will avail him, meaning حتى اعتقد أنه إن انتقص مالي أموت. To a point, he thinks that if my money should depreciate, I will die. If I should miss this contract, I will die. There are people like that. Not only money, contract, examination. If this examination, if I fail it, I'll die. He worked as if that's his purpose on this earth. Sometimes you have perceptions about certain things, examination or a contract or something in your life. And you think that this thing is at my, if I should miss this thing, I'll die. It's as if that's why you are on this earth. So that's the second thing we are learning here. The hope, the love is in him. to a point that he thinks if he should miss any of these things, be it contract, be it money, be it examination, be it position, be it anything of worldly matter, he thinks that if he have it, he will die. If he lose it, he will die. A very famous statement of Sheikh Sha'rawi. He says that al-jawarihu ta'mal wal qulubu tatawakkal. You should work, and then your heart should rely on Allah. You have enough to take care of yourself, your dependents, that's your family and all these people who have hack on you. And then you rely on Allah. You rely on Allah. You rely on Allah. So whatever be the case, if you are searching for position, for contract, for anything of worldly matter, if you don't get, don't think that is the end of life. No, it was just a means to an end. It's not the end of life. The world will continue to go. If you think that is it, and then let's say you commit suicide or so, the world will continue to run. The world will continue to run without you. Then he says that فَلِذَلِكَ يَحْفَظُهُ مِنَ النُّقْصَانِ لِيَبْقَى حَيًّا. So due to that, he preserves it from depreciating. لِيَبْقَى حَيًّا, to remain alive. وَهَذَا غَيْرُ بَعِيدٍ مِنَ الْاعْتِقَادِ الْبَخِيلِ. And that is not far from the thinking of the miserly, who are someone who is miserly. And so if you look at that, people who are miserly, people who are very greedy, we have seen in Surah Al Ma'un, giving out small things, they see it as a burden. Let's say zakat, the 0.025% of your money, 140 of your wealth, giving it out. This kind of person, he thinks that if I give this, no, it will cause me great harm. I may not be alive. Subhanallah. He doesn't, removing it is become very difficult. Subhanallah. He thinks any small depreciation in his money or his marks, be it examination if you are a student, or whatever, be it, he thinks any small depreciation in his quantity is a problem. It's something that will hamper his life. It's something that will be a threat to his livelihood. Because we are so engrossed in this life. كَلَّا لَيُنْبَذَنَّ فِي الْحُطَمَةِ. No, not at all. Meaning that you should better know. The matter of the fact is that لَيُنْبَذَنَّ فِي الْحُطَمَةِ. They are going to be cast. They are going to be thrown in al-hutama, the crusher. Hutama is actually one of the names of hellfire, as we all know. And then hutama, it means the crusher. Hutama actually means the crusher. And hutam, from it we have hutam. Hutam is plants or crops that turns yellow, and then they dry up, and then they easily breaks when one step up on them. Okay, when you have vegetation and then crops, and then they dry off, and then they become yellow, and then they dry, and suddenly when someone step on them, they break off. We call them hutam. It comes in the Quran and other places. لَوْ نَشَاءُ Surah Al Waqi'ah. لَوْ نَشَاءُ لَجَعَلْنَاهُ حُطَامًا. So that's this word. Even Surah Al Hadid. Okay, كَمَثَلِ غَيْثٍ أَعْجَبَ الْكُفَّارَ نَبَاتُهُ ثُمَّ يَهِيجُ فَتَرَاهُ مُصْفَرًّا ثُمَّ يَكُونُ حُطَامًا. Okay, they become dry. Let's not describing the crops. They become dry, and then when you step on them, they crashes. They break apart. That's hutam. So from it we have this word hutama. Okay, the crusher, meaning this hellfire is something that is going to crush them. These people, they think they are untouchable. They think that they have enough money, they have enough wealth that nothing can touch them. Like we have seen, the money is a solution to everything that will come on their way. Unless it's no, all of a sudden you will find yourself in the grave. You are gone by that from this world. And then your final abode is going to be this hotama, this hellfire that will crush you. No. Subhanallah. So that is what Allah says here. And then nabaza, the verb here, layumbazanna. If you see here, there is tawqid. Allah says definitely. Okay, kella. Kella here is to remove doubt. Allah is to change the way you think. You say kella, no. The person have a wrong perception, and so you want to tell the person, no, what you are thinking is wrong. This is how really it is. So you use kalla. That's how it is used in the Arabic language. So Allah says, this person, what you are thinking, the way, the perception, the how you're thinking, okay, the thinking that you are having, it is wrong. The matter of the fact is rather that you are going to find yourself in al-hutama, okay, the hellfire that will crush you. Subhanallah. This person, he doesn't even think that he will die. He doesn't even think that, like we have seen. He thinks that he knew he may die one day, but he thinks he's so far away. Right now, I have enough money to cater for everything. I'm not thinking about death. I'm not bothered about death, about dying. Okay, and even further on, you see lam. This lam here is also for tawqid, for emphasis. So Allah add further this tawqid. Why? Because Allah is talking to someone who is in doubt. And then nabaza, the yumbazanna, the verb is nabaza. And nabaza means to throw someone or to throw something that doesn't have a value. To throw away something that doesn't have a value is nabaza. Okay, like we have seen it in Surah Al-Baqarah. Allah described the Israelis, okay, the people of Musa alayhi salatu wassalam. They threw the book. نبذ فريق من الذين أوتوا الكتاب كتاب الله وراء ظهورهم كأنهم لا يعلمون. You know, when they have the book, the Torah, Allah described them as throwing the Torah as if it has no use. نبذ فريق من الذين أوتوا الكتاب. These people, what they did to the Torah, Allah gave them this book as a source of guidance, and then they threw it at their backs as if it has no value. That's what Allah is saying. So that's a similar thing here. Nabaza is, as I said, to throw something that doesn't have a value. Allah says these people, they think that they are the most important people. As I said, we have already seen their sifat, their description. They already think that they have money and then they have nothing to worry about. And they think, as I said, they don't really respect other people. They think the money is the criteria for judging how you should be respected in a society. So these people, they think they are the ashraf, they are the most honorable people in the society. And so Allah says, you are going to be casted in the hellfire, you are going to be dumped, thrashed into the hellfire, as if you are people who have no value. Subhanallah. The word itself is, is very condescending. How Allah is, the word Allah, the words Allah is using here. You know, la yumbazanna fil hutama. And then hutama here, you can see these people Humazah, they were to the apex. We have already seen. Okay, the Humazah and Lumazah, we said it was Mubalaga, Humazah, Lumazah. This pattern, as I said, the words that nouns that come on this pattern, they come for Mubalaga, for hyperbole, meaning they talk about people first a lot. So the same way Allah says hutama, not just any crasher. Okay, so Sheikh says that فَإِنَّمَا ذَكِرَهُ بِلَفْزِ النَّبَزِ الدَّالِ عَلَى الْإِهَانَةِ. Bimana, this nabaza, that's what similar to the Sheikh is saying, it is means to trash something that doesn't have value. So Allah is dishonoring them. لأن الكافر كان يعتقد أنه من أهل الكرامة. He says that the kafir, that is believer in the world, in the dunya, he used to think that he is someone from the honorable people. They are those who are honorable in the society, and they think that the money is only the source of honor in the society. Wakuri'a, and then he says that there is a different recitation. Wakuri'a la yumbazan. So you see here, la yumbazanna. This is one recitation, which means an emphasis. So there are three emphases here. This lam is an emphasis. These two nun at tawqiyid. These two nun, they are also for emphasis. This lam and then two nuns here, they are for emphasis. But he says that Sheikh is saying that it can also, there is a different recitation and it can be recited. So if you hear somewhere it is recited layum bazani, okay, with alif before the nun. So layum bazani fil hutama, meaning that layum bazani fil hutama, meaning that both of them, okay, the alif wa nun will mean both of them. He and his mal, bimana huwa wa maluhu. He and his money, they will all be thrashed into hellfire. And then there is another recitation. He says that layum bazunna. There's a third recitation. So there are three recitations. Layum bazanna, this common one. Then layum bazani, meaning dual, he and his wealth, they will both be thrown in the hellfire. And then layum bazunna, We don't mean Zal, with the Zal having Dhamma. So if you hear that recitation also, it will mean plural, plural, like Yumbazunna, meaning it is plural. Bimana, huwa wa ansaruhu, huwa wa ansaruhu, he and those who are helping him. Mainly people who are ashraf, people who have a lot of money in the society. They tend to have followers. They tend to have people who are helping them out. People that is loosened. So, and unfortunately, if they turn out to have similar attitude with them, Sheikh is saying that they will both be thrashed into the hellfire. So he says that Al-Hutama ismun min asma'in nar. Hutama that we have seen here, it is one of the names of hellfire. Okay, and of course there's no doubt about it. وقال المقاتل, and Muqatil says here tahtimul izam. It is something that crushes the bones. وَتَأْكُلُ اللُّحُومِ, and then it eats the flesh. حَتَّى تَحْجُمُ عَلَى الْقُلُوبِ, until it reaches the heart. So this hellfire, this fire, it crushes the bones, it eats the flesh of this human being, and then it goes all the way to the heart. The heart feels the pain. And so we shall come to see it. And let it tell you ala al-afida. We shall come to see that ayah here. Now, Allah continues by saying that وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا الْحُطَمَةِ, and what can give you a clue of what hutama is? This hutama that Allah has said that they will be casted, they will be thrown into this hutama. What can give you a clue of what this hutama is? That's what Allah is asking. What we need to know is that this uslub, this manner of asking a question, is used in the Quran when the thing is something severe. So Allah says that actually you can't know what it is completely. You can only have a clue of it. Okay, you can only have a clue. Adra is actually for something to give you a clue of what something is, of what another thing is. That's adra. Okay, so Allah asks what can give you a clue of what hutama is, meaning you can't actually understand what hutama is fully. You can only have a clue. Whatever you are coming to know is going to be a clue. You know, so Allah is tafkhim. Allah is glorifying this hutama, meaning Allah is saying that this hellfire is no joke. It's something that is very big. This matter is very big, such that you can encompass it well. You can only have a small vision of it. You can only have a small understanding of it. And what is this? Allah says, Narullahil Muqadah, the fire of Allah which has been lit. You know, what we need to know is that when this is loose, Narullah, you can see here Narullah, that is Mudaf and Mudaf Ilay. When something is used like that, that is the apex of that thing. If a description is used for Allah, it means that is the highest form of that description. So for example, you see the help of Abdul Karim, meaning Abdul Karim helped. But if you say Allah's help, meaning there's no help, that is way above that again. The highest help you can get is the help of Allah. So if something is used, is attached to Allah, if a description is given to Allah, that is the highest form that we can get. It's something that we know, we need to know when we see it in the Quran and even in Arabic language. If something is made mudaf to Allah, meaning that is the highest form of that thing that you can get. You know, Nasrullah. Nasrullah is just actually, Nasrun is actually help. Like Allah says, Nasrun min Allah, help from Allah. Or even help. وَلَقَدْ نَصَرَكُمُ اللَّهُ فِي بَدْرٍ. Allah, like Allah said, He has already helped you in Badr. It was just help. Allah just mentioned help. It's even a verb. A verb is temporal. So help in Badr, it was a specific help that came to help them to fight against these disbelievers. And other places, Allah helped the Muslims. But when Allah says Nasrullah, إِذَا جَاءَ Nasrullah, when the help of Allah finally came, meaning that was the help. Mufassirun have viewed that this is the help that came, and then Islam, the Muslims, they conquer Makkah. And Islam spread throughout the whole world. Even up until today, Islam is still spreading. That is the final help that came. So Nasrullah, because it was attached to Allah's name. Allah says Nasrullah, meaning that is the highest form of help you can get. And it's the same thing in every situation.
So the same thing here. Narullah, it means the highest form of fire that you can get. I can light a fire. Someone else can light a fire. Another person can light a fire. But all this, it will not be as big compared to someone who knows how to light fire very well. And who knows how to light fire very well than Allah himself. So when it is used with Allah, it's very scary. Meaning that Allah himself did it. And who can do something better than Allah? Subhanallah. So Narullah, the fire of Allah. This is something very scary. Allah attributes the fire to himself. Allah is the one. The fire it belongs to Allah. What other fire can be more scary than a fire that is attributed to Allah? May Allah protect us. So Narullah. So Sheikh says here that فَإِضَافَةِ لِلتَّفْخِيمِ the idafa that we have found here, the nar is mudaf and Allah is mudaf ilayh. So this idafa, this association, the tafkhim is to glorify this fire. Here, narul la kathairin niran. It is a fire that is not like any other fire. And that's what we have already explained. So narullahil muqada. And then Allah describes it as muqada. Narullahil muqada. The fire of Allah that is muqada. That is lit. The verb here is actually awqada yuqidu. Okay, awqada yuqidu, which means to light. And so this is ism maf'ul. That is muqada. Muqada is here is ism maf'ul. And ism is permanent, meaning it is going to be permanent. The fire, it doesn't, like Sheikh tells us, la takhmadu abada. It doesn't go off. It's a fire that is always going to be there. Muqada. Because why? Because this is ism maf'ul. And we all know ism. In Arabic language, a noun is permanent. Okay, a verb is temporal and a noun is always permanent. If I say human being, a human being will always be a human being. An apple will always be an apple. There's no way an apple will turn to a human being. So a noun is always permanent. But verbs are not permanent. Okay, he's standing. He can decide to sit down and the verb will cease to act. So verbs are temporal. He's running. He can decide to stop. So verbs are temporal, but nouns are permanent in Arabic language. So Allah says, Na'ullahil muqada. This al-muqada, it is ism maf'ul. It's a type of noun. Okay, so it is permanent, meaning that's what Sheikh is seeing here. It's a signal that that fire is going to be a fire that doesn't go off. So now is one description. It's associated with Allah for tafkhim, for glorifying the fire. And then in further, it says described as muqada, that has been lit and is going to be permanent. Subhanallah. Ma'adallah, may Allah protect us. Allahumma jibna minan nar. Allahumma a'tiq riqabana minan nar. Sheikh says that al-muqada bima'na it is lit bi amrihi bima'na bi amrillah. It is lit either by the command of Allah, bima'na Allah commanded it and it light up on its own by the amr, by the command of Allah, or bi qudratihi, or by his power. Allah just lit it with his power. Allah says that allati tattali'u ala al-afida, that which mounts directly on the hearts. This fire is a fire that mounts itself directly on the heart. If a human being or an animal is burning, a human being is burning, it's the outer surface that is exposed to the fire. But Allah says the heart itself, the fire is a fire that mounts directly onto the heart. It's a fire that goes internally, deep inside the human being. It's not just that the outer part of the human being is feeling the pain. No. The fire is able to get itself all the way to the heart. That is what Allah is telling us here. Ittala'a is actually for something to rise. Ittala'a. The actual verb is tala'a. Tala'a simply, it means to rise casually. But ittala'a means to rise in a difficult manner. So like in the Arabic language, it is said, Tala al-Jabal, he simply climbed the mountain. But what Tala'a alayhi iza alahu, but if he should climb and go up the mountain, it is said, Tala'a. We don't say Tala'a. So Tala'a, and climbing a mountain, how is it? It's difficult. So we use Tala'a. Tala'a is rising, to climb, to rise. But with difficulty. There is not ease in it. So meaning this person, the fire goes in him, gradual, and every single step he's feeling the pain of the fire until it gets to the heart of this person. It's a very graphic image that Allah is describing for this punishment for these people. So Sheikh says that أن النار بمعنى النار تدخل في أجوافهم, the fire enters into their limbs حتى تصل إلى صدورهم, until it reaches their chest, وتطلع على أفئدتهم, and then it mounts onto their hearts. ولا شيء في بدن الإنسان ألطف من الفؤاد, and there is nothing in the human body that is more soft or that is more vulnerable than the heart. The heart, of course, and that's what we found. The most important part and the most vulnerable part of the human beings are those that are hidden. Those things, they are covered. See the heart where it is located, it is covered. The brain is covered. It's not just exposed like that. So that's what Sheikh is saying here. But Allah makes sure that this punishment is able to find its way to the heart, the most protected part of the body. The fire is able to get its way to this part. Sheikh also says that أن سبب التخصيص الأفئدة بذلك هو أنها مواطن الكفر والعقائد الخبيثة. He says that Allah specified the afida here. Allah specified the fu'ad, the qalb, the heart of the people here. Why did Allah say Allah tell you ala al-afida? But he didn't mention any other thing. Allah says that the fire will mount itself onto the heart. Why? Sheikh is saying here that the heart is the mawatin, is the place where this kufr, this khabisa, this filthy attitudes, Humazah and Lumazah, this attitude, filthy attitude that Allah has described of these people, where are they found? They are found in the heart. And so the Sheikh is saying here that Imam Razi is saying that it is worthy of the fire getting to this part where these filthy habits and filthy attitudes they found itself. The fire will get itself to that point. Then Allah says that innaha alayhim muqsada. It is that fire. The fire, it is especially on them, especially for those people, muqsada, close upon. The fire is close upon them from top. Outsada, the verb here, let's look at muqsada. The verb is outsada, which means to close from top. Okay, when something is used to engulf you, when something engulfs you or cover you up from your top, it's called outsider. So for example, an animal, an insect, then you use a plate, something like a plate, a bowl to cover the animal. You have closed him from top, from above. So that was outsider. Outsider, as I said, to cover from the top. Sheikh says that walam yakul mutbaqa. Another word that could have been used is mutbaqa. Okay, mutbaqa. But Allah didn't say it mutbaqa. They are being close. Because closing, there are different ways for closing. But more so that here, it means there is a bab, there is an opening. It's not just closing, but close from the top such that there's a door. There is an opening. Okay, there is possibility for escape. So, more so that you are close from the top, you are close from above. Something is covered from above. But there is an opening, there is a door. Even though the door is closed, but there is a door. So that is when mu'sada is used. So Sheikh says that mutbaqatul li'anna mu'sadata hiya al-abwabul mughlaqa. It is a bab that is closed from top. That is mu'sada. Wal itbaqu la yufidu ma'na al-bab. But if Allah should have used mutbaqa, it means there would have been no bab. It means there's a closing without any bab. Okay, you are just closed and there's no bab. There's no opening. There's no way to escape. وَعْلَمْ أَنَّ الْآيَةَ تُفِيدُ الْمُبَالَغَةَ فِي الْعَذَابِ مِنْ وُجُوهٍ. He says that Allah using muqsada here, it is to increase their punishment. They have a psychological torture. It's like you are closed. You are being trapped in a place and there is a door, but the door is not opening. There is a door. The door, it will give you a sense that you have the opportunity to escape, but you cannot escape. So Allah make it a closing such that there is a door from above. But they look at the door and it gives them false hope. like we have seen in Surah Al Hajj. لهم مقامع من حديد كلما أرادوا أن يخرجوا منها أعيدوا فيها. Every time they try to escape from it, they'll be returned back to it. This iron, they'll be striking them, they'll strike them back into the fire. So that door here, Sheikh is saying that it is for Mubalaghatul Azab, to extend their punishment. It gives them psychological torture. You are there looking at the bab, the door, but you can't escape. This add to their torture. If there was no door, we wouldn't have even been thinking of escaping. We would have just been there patiently and suffer the punishment. But the door is there, we'll be looking at it, but unfortunately, we cannot escape. So that is what Sheikh is saying here. Allah uses Maw-izah here is to increase their punishment by the psychological torture.
في عمد ممددة, in extended columns, in outstretched columns. So meaning these people, inna alayhim mu'sada, the hellfire is going to close on them from above. Fi amadin mumaddada. Allah further described them of being in amadin mumaddada. Amad is actually the plural of umud. Amad is jamu taksir, and then the singular is umud, and umud is actually a beam. Okay, a beam or column. Okay, so like Sheikh says here, ala amud kullu mustaqilin min hashabin aw hadidin. Every outstretch that is made of wood or hadid or even iron, a metal. So anything like that is called amud. And so mumaddada also is actually mumaddada bimana outstretch. The verb is madda, which means to stretch. Maddada, to stretch widely. And so from it we have mumaddada. They are going to be in these columns that are widely stretched. And so it is further described as Sheikh says, huwa aslun lil bina. It is the foundation of a building. Bimana the amad. Okay, yuqalu amudul bayt allazi yaqumu bihi al bayt. When it is said amud is actually the foundation, okay, the essence of the building, that on which the building is built upon. That's what it means, amud. So something like the foundation, okay, the beam that is used as the foundation and that the building is made on it. That is what it means, amud. Okay, it could also be the pillars which hold the building in position. So such thing is called the amud. And so, as Sheikh says, min hadid, it is made of hadid, iron. And so, if the fire is very hot, these things are going to be also hot, and they are even long. And so, this person, he will look at remember, Maw-izah, it means what? There is a door upwards. They are closed from top, but there is a door. So the person look at the door, but guess what? He cannot climb. Why? Because it's made of this amud, which is metallic, and then it is what? Of course, when metallic is a fire, what happens to it? It's not touchable. You can't touch it. And so the person cannot even climb upwards. Okay. Then another way of looking at it is المسألة الثانية في تفسير الآية وأول أنها أمد أغلقت بها تلك الأبواب. So he's saying that وفي بمعنى الباء أي أنها عليه مقصدة بعمد مدت عليها. He's saying that the fee here can also mean be by means. So they are going to be close. إنها عليهم مقصدة. The fire is going to be close on them. Be amadin mumaddada, by means of outstretched columns. That's what Sheikh is saying. The fee here can mean be, which means by means. So these outstretched columns, these beams, they are going to be used as a means to lock them. You see, sometimes amad can also mean a column that's used to lock a door. When you have some doors, then you use some metallic design to cross it. Some doors, I don't know, some doors, ancient doors, they used to have that metallic design. You use it to cross the door, and then it doesn't have any opening. Now, look at the horrible description that Allah has given to this punishment. And so that is why Allah says at the beginning, wail, the worst form of destruction will be on these people. The manner if the worst possible destruction will be on them. Allah bring this as a warning to them that you see what we have seen. The description that has been given, very horrible description. And so that is nice that Allah used wail at the beginning. So that's the connection between it. One other thing that we need to know is likulli. Allah says wailun likulli. It means everybody. Everybody. We have to be very, extra cautious. We don't know what we will do, and we may find ourselves in this Humazah and Lumazah. So we have to be careful. Barakallahu li wa lakum. With this, we come to the end of the study of this beautiful surah. Jazak Allahu Khair wa barakallahu li wa lakum fi Quran al-Hakim wa nafani wa iyyakum min ayati wa zikr al-Hakim. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.